Welcome to a live edition of What the Truck. It is my F3 debut. I go by the name of Malcolm Harris. If you don't know, I'm the new host of What the Truck. If you do know, it is so good to see you. I'm excited. We have a jam-packed show, 45 minutes, 3 heavy hitters in terms of guests. Welcome to Chattanooga, Tennessee, by the way. If you have not been here in the city, super excited. We have some rain, unfortunately. I didn't order this, but my next guest may have been the culprit. And it is all right because I'm joined by CTO of the Lean Solutions Group, Alfonso Keanu. Alfonso, what's up, brother?
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
I'm so happy you're here. How are you, man? How's traveling in?
It was great. I mean, travel from Colombia to the States is not always the easiest, but I made it. You know, going from New York, unveiling our new brand launch over at the NASDAQ Tower.
Nice.
And now I'm here to talk a little bit more about what's going on with tech and lean.
I love it, man. I love it. Well, welcome to Chattanooga, Tennessee on behalf of me and the entire team. Shout out to the guys over there, man, doing your thing. I appreciate y'all making me shine out here. Something I saw that I want to get into first. You said you cannot automate trust in a recent post, and I really like this, man. Can you expand on what this means in logistics and in this space, given where we're at in terms of AI?
Yeah, I first want to call out, thanks for being an admirer of my LinkedIn
Come on, man. I'm Mr. LinkedIn, brother.
Yes. I'm putting quite a lot of thought and effort into that, so I appreciate it, dog.
Of course.
Listen, we built Lean Solutions Group around trust.
Yeah.
There was a time not long ago where a broker didn't really think too fondly of being, in a company where they could have outsourced positions from competitors. And Lean came in and completely revolutionized that. A couple of years ago, we started with, about 20 to 50 people doing outsource operations from some major hitters, but that, gave us the opportunity to start. But they trusted us enough to be able to grow our organization to the point where we are today. 12,000 people across more than 7 countries, 650 clients. And I give a lot of that to trust. It's the trust to be able to handle your operations with the quality and the processes and also the people that it takes for you to succeed. And now I think in trust in layers. I think there's a new layer of trust coming, and that's the layer of technology.
For sure.
And we're ready to bring in some value in that front as well.
Now, talk to me a little bit about that because you talked about the technology, and there's been some success in 2025. But looking into 2026, what is this, I guess, overwhelming kind of arching theme of where we're headed in 2026 for Lean?
Well, I will say that we have found a sweet spot.
Yeah.
We think that there are 2 fronts happening right now. So there's people who are too people-centric. You have the typical BPO providers, the ones that are outsourcing cookie-cutter work. We're not that. But then there's the other side. There's the AI native players, right? And I mean, there's like 100 of them here, so it's not really too difficult to identify, but we're not that either. We're not, trying to say that AI is a silver bullet. It's going to fix all your problems. We think there's a perfect spot in the middle where technology can be implemented in a safe manner, but that allows you to move fast. And we were in build mode for the entire 2025. We were building it right, and we've talked internally about putting this out there. You're probably going to be the first to actually hear this, but we built it right, and we took our time to do it so that you can move fast. And that's what we want to go out and tell our clients is that 2026 is going to be the year where our customer is going to be able to capitalize on all of the investments that we did on AI. Not this year, for the past 10 years. We've been building up to that sort of new vision of Lean. And it can be represented in our new brand.
There's a balance that you have to play, and you guys in the crowd and listening know, I mean, when it comes to AI, it's a tool that's supposed to enhance. How do you balance the people-driven aspect to also match with AI and keep these kind of like a balance when it's like a seesaw? You know what I'm saying?
No, it's a perfect question. And I think the majority of people are maybe approaching this problem the wrong way.
Yeah.
And by that, I mean that you first have to know what type of problem you're actually trying to fix. I think that a lot of companies are not necessarily going into processes and finding out what are the unit economics, behind this. what is the actual cost per transaction? So we actually start with something called an AI readiness assessment. We provide our customers the visibility that they currently lack to be able to build out a full roadmap of what their business needs to look like in the next 12 to 18 months. And once we've identified that, we then put all the resources behind to make sure that your technology is deployed safely. We're talking about forward deployed engineers. We're talking about product managers, solutions architects. We have the technology. We've been building out with our customers over the past 2, 3 years, and it's been having incredible success. But now, because we were first in the game, we're kind of like Apple in this sense. It's like we wanted to make sure that we did it right for our customers. So I think that the balance starts with first having very, very strong clarity on the process. We are experts in logistics. We've built that expertise. We didn't, just kind of buy it or, say one day that we are now able to take that throne. We actually built it over these past years, and we hadn't really done something with it. We had to transform that into actual productivity for our customers. This is when we do that.
100%, 100%. Now, let me ask, because you are experts in the field. I mean, when it comes to specifically looking at, bottlenecks in the space, what do you see right now has been the biggest bottleneck issue?
Well, we started by eating our own dog food, and we analyzed our entire process.
Yeah.
We said, where are we lacking? Where are we getting constantly in QBRs with customers where they're saying, what's next? And that actually normally happens at the 12-year mark. Like, we were just on a great customer meeting where he was telling us, like, hey, it's great that you're already offering us like 55%, cost reduction versus the US. It's like, but I want your people to be better than our people. And I'm like, whoa, you fit the mold perfectly. Our customers want more than ever, and we're trying to meet them where they're at. So, I think that, essentially when it comes to the biggest processes that we can go and automate, it comes down to a list of 4 for me, primarily. It's track and trace.
Yep.
It's appointment scheduling. It's quoting and financial operations, which could be payables, receivables, and everything.
For sure.
And that constitutes a large portion of our business. And we're focused on making sure that those 4 processes are set. But as we continue to make progress on that, we're working on 4 or 5 extra ones that cover the entire quote to cash process. So believe me when I tell you, we're going to handle the entire logistics life cycle before 2026 is over.
That's amazing work, man. Let me ask, because people, specifically carriers, brokers, they're hesitant about automation. They're hesitant about AI. They're like, hey, if it's not broke, don't fix it. I've seen results. I've done and had success in the past. What's a way for them to start small and still see meaningful results when it comes to this?
Look, I think you can't. I hate to use this term, but
Of course.
it can't boil the ocean, right? So like, you can't go and try to automate absolutely everything at once.
Yeah.
I think that's a mistake. You also, when we talk about balance between the human and the AI, I've seen approaches where customers have come to us and I said, my rate of exception is so ridiculous. I've applied the AI and it's now generating a whole bunch of issues and I need to go and fix them. I don't have the bandwidth to fix them. It's generating more work. I actually put a name behind that on the demo that I did. I didn't get to finish, unfortunately, because I talk too much.
No, you're right. You're right on time.
Oh,
I got
all right,
you.
good.
I got you.
But I called it Jevons paradox.
Paradox.
It's an economic principle that talks about how volume of work goes up as technology gets more efficient.
Yeah.
And what we're saying is that, look, you want to apply everywhere, that you're fine, do it.
Right.
But have a roadmap and start with a specific function that has your highest unitary cost. And most times those are going to be in those 4 categories that I've just described. But start with one, make sure you get that right before you move over to the next process. And before you move over to the next process, make sure that you have some place where you basically jotted down the ROI. And our platform shows that. Like, we talked about the unveiling of Lean Tech Agent Edge. There's a view where you could go and click on it and you can see what ROI have I gained from this process, which is something that, I'm not dissing, any AI provider, but
100%.
they're not really showing you that. It's like, why are not they putting this out in front of our customers? So that's a problem we're trying to address.
Alfonso, you talked about, which was really cool, by the way. But something specifically that I want you to answer, People often overlook things that you're discussing. What is like the most major thing that somebody is overlooking that there is uncapped potential that it definitely has your attention right now?
Well, I will take something that a person I really admire, which is Jeff Bezos, said, which is sometimes you don't need to focus on the things that are going to exist and that are not going to exist in the next 10 years. You need to do the opposite. You need to, what is going to stay still, right? Like, is it customer service? Is it faster deliveries? Is it, and one thing that I'm seeing a lot is that the incredible over-indexing of carrier sales automation, a place that has a ton of human component and like customer interactions that directly impact the reputation of companies. And I mean, I kind of want to say I don't think that's the place to start. Yes, it's the place where most companies are going to have the most virtual ROI, but there's just so much more to tackle on the entire load life cycle that is not going to put your reputation on the line. And generally, the sentiment of carrier sales operations and automation across the driver side is not good. So, I think there's something to say about the speed at which we deploy these technologies that I think some people are getting wrong. Again, we're going to do it right and safely, and we're like, at the end of the day, we built a $300 million business based on working with incredible customers that have put trust in us for these years. We're not trying to now say that we're going to completely revolutionize our company by changing all that revenue to AI revenue. That's a problem that we don't have, but a lot of the other AI vendors, they do. We're just trying to do what's right for our customers and make sure that they can grow safely and responsibly. I think that's the major thing, the major oversight from a lot of providers.
Right. Looking 2026 and beyond, there's emerging trends. Everybody's talking. We got the latest thing. This is happening. What are you most excited about? And then honestly, I want you to give me some real right now because you're on What the Truck. What are you like, man, Malcolm? Dog, this is so overhyped. This makes no sense.
Oh man,
Put you on the spot.
yeah. I mean, look, I'm a gentleman, so I'll make sure to
I appreciate
keep
that.
things civil. But I'll say this. Look, I think that there are some things that are out there that could be considered gimmicks.
Yeah.
Because I hear a lot about how this industry needs innovation.
Sure.
This industry needs for technology to be at the forefront of everything we do. And then I've heard how, for example, voice AI is the missing link in a fragmented industry that has no structured data. But we're missing a huge portion, which is that this is a problem that should have been fixed by correct integrations between systems, APIs, proper implementation of TMS systems. Like, even though I'm very excited about AI, I'm deploying AI. I'm like an AI master now, right?
Yeah.
I still think that there's a lot of place for some of the traditional stuff that companies need to be doing, right? You can't just say that, you slap an open AI to a workflow, a traditional workflow, and call it now all of a sudden it's an AI workflow. It's like, I'm a technologist first, but I'm also a business guy, and I want to meet my customers where they're at and tell them most of the stuff that is out there that people are calling AI is not, and you're paying a premium for it. What you need is more traditional, hard technology work, and that'll get you halfway there. The rest is innovation, and there'll be a place for both.
So, how can listeners learn more about what you, the rest of the team at Lean, are doing? Walk us through what that process looks like.
Well, definitely check out the new website. So leangroup.com now looks awesome.
Nice.
There's a lot of information there about our technology, Lean Tech Agent Edge. Check it out. We got all the use cases there, all the case studies. So definitely check that out. We got a nice booth here at FreightWaves. So got a cool team there that will be glad to talk to you about human and AI and how we're merging those two together to give customers best experience. And hell, call me. I want to talk to you.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
For last question before I get you up out of here.
Yeah.
When it comes to our audience, right, and our listeners right now live, what's one thing that you wanted them to take from this conversation with you today on What the Truck Room?
Well, I'll say that the companies need to think about the future more than ever. And I have this thing where I'm telling my teams internally that it's almost impossible to plan more than 2 years in the future, 3 years in the future now, because technology is just moving at such an incredible pace. So you have to take things one step at a time, and you have to identify what your tolerance for risk is in your organization. And some will have more, some will have less, but make sure that you don't get lost in the process as you're adopting technology and leave yourself out for huge amounts of risk. Like everybody saw the AWS outage that took down like half the country with it. Like, don't let that be you. And I want my customers to avoid failing. And I think you do that through the correct balance that Lean provides.
I love it. Could not be better. Alfonso Quijano, the CTO of Lean Solutions Group. Y'all give it up for Alfonso, man. I really appreciate it, brother.
Thank you.
Feel good.
Thanks, man.
Well, coming up, I got a guy on the way. I got a guy, and he's a man. I met him a couple of weeks ago, and I mean, we just hit it off. I feel like I've known him for like a decade plus. All I can say is, Bub is in the building. Richard Bub, what's up, baby?
How are you?
Welcome to What the Truck. I'm so happy you were here. Let's just shout out to the woman behind the camera, by the way. I know I'm not supposed to say it. Sorry, Rachel, you're the best ever.
Plus one.
Yeah, full swing. Super happy you're here. Richard, tell us.
I gotta say, I'm glad to be here. And then also, it being your first ever inaugural F3 to be here. The official Malcolm Harris era is started.
The Malcolm Harris era is in full effect.
So this is going to be something I definitely add to the list of things that top my chart.
So it's a rookie debut,
Yeah.
I'm trying to get through it, but also, just calm it down and make it fun for everybody. I'm just happy you're here, bro.
Yeah. And you blew up my LinkedIn too. I had so many people reach out and they're like, "Oh, you get to talk to Malcolm," and I'm like, I knew Malcolm's a big deal because I've watched this, and I just didn't realize that was gonna happen so much. I had people from 4 different companies reaching out saying, "Hey,
that's crazy."
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Well, so glad to be here.
And
you're also the Gene Kelly now.
Yes,
because singing in the rain, we're podcasting in the rain. Right? What people can't see who are at home is we're in like a wedding tent right now, and it's just raining around us.
It's just raining around us, and we got people. I mean, it's nice. This is a good atmosphere. I will say, I did not know these were going to be this hot.
Yeah,
it's crazy. It's like what?
Yeah.
Talk to us, Richard, Principal Program Manager at Amazon Relay. Talk to us a little bit about your background.
Yeah.
Why we're here today, your current position, and just what all goes into that.
Yeah. So I started off my career at the port in Savannah, and I didn't know at that time that very much like a container, and I usually like to build this a little bit in people's mind because I travel very much like the container through the supply chain. I went from the port directly to an intermodal carrier. Then I moved into a 3PL, large 3PL, and I made it to the customer, to Amazon, where I've been here for 8 years. But it gave me a really well-rounded understanding, too, of just what goes in all of the different layers of moving either a container or a package through the supply chain. And also, I think before I came on here, was just thinking about some of the more impactful experiences I've had outside of Amazon. And one of them was sitting in Memphis, Tennessee. It was me and one other person. We had 100 trucks and just out of that one terminal, and just trying to get it done, leaning on the relationships, the people that are around you to get it done. So I think that's been something that I've carried through. But yeah, that's a little bit about me and really what's kind of got me to this part. Principal, you asked about what I do at Amazon.
Yeah.
A little bit of a mouthful, right, with the principal program manager, and then if you go into the after the comma, yard operations, people's eyes start glazing over. But to put it simply, we work on some of the strategic programs, and one of the things that we've done this year is we brought the yard hostling and shuttling moves onto Relay. So carriers can now go in there and they can book those directly. So a really fun project, and we just had RelayCon in Las Vegas a few weeks back, and our line felt like out the door, didn't get a break for water because we were just talking to people about the opportunities. So it's been a really fun journey for sure.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
When it comes specifically to just understanding, your role, where can kind of carriers find and book loads with this volume? Because it seems like every single time I'm seeing trailers,
Yeah.
prime trailers, right? They're driving down the road. And despite companies hurting to find truckload volumes, Amazon still has this opportunity.
Yeah.
You see volume slowing down at all, and will carriers be able to
Yeah.
actually have a capability with this?
Yeah. So this is a good question. And I think on the last couple podcasts prior to this, I think we've had some question about economics where we're at.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that we are really looking at, and when people ask us that question, when you look at this past July for Prime Day, we had a record Prime Day. So volumes there, like people are ordering packages, on Amazon. I mean, also understand, like we're here, FreightWaves, like that may not be across the board for everyone, but for us, people are ordering. And we met with Mary O'Connell, who
we'll see. She's the best in the game.
So we met, Aviad Benzikri and I met last week with her and did something similar to this, but just a little bit longer form. And definitely check that out, right? If you haven't yet. But one of the things that I think took Mary by surprise was Aviad and I joined that call 2 weeks ago. And we were just felt like we were sweating. We were just like in the heat of it. It was Prime Big Deal Days. And one of the things that she said was, I didn't realize at the time that like that would impact you all as much. But every time somebody clicks order, whether it's, Amazon, right? You see the blue trailers going down the road, right? They're filled with that product. Or if we have the approved third party Amazon, like shipping goes out and brings those folks on, we have those third parties that come in too. But anything that's on there, any of those big events that we have, people are going in on the Amazon, that then goes on to Relay, that goes on to a truck. So we're about to get into a pretty big one, right? We're going into our peak, but I would say now it's safe to say we have many different peaks. Like we've got peaks with peaks.
Yeah.
You've got Prime Week, you've got Prime Big Deal Days, you've got inbound peak, you've got peak, you've got returns. So we keep our hands full. But I'd say on that note, just kind of back to your question, like we're seeing that increase, and then typically nearly doubles during that peak season. So I think for carriers, definitely worth checking it out and just seeing what's out there on Relay for sure.
Definitely, because as a carrier, you're gonna want a piece of the pie, right? It's like this is nuts, and just trying to find a book is super important. Now, the different equipment types, what are they that you can actually book when it comes to the operations that Amazon Relay and the entire organization is utilizing right now?
Yeah, so I think on that, we have different equipment types, but also there's different ways that you can book those. So like when you're looking at ways that you can book the equipment, we've got the load board, we've got contracts, we've got auctions. Now there's different ways that you can book that within each of those systems, but just to boil it down to those three, load board, that, and again too, like when people think about Amazon, they typically think about those blue trailers, or they'll think, okay, it's a load board. That's a large piece, but that's one piece of the pie. So load board, that's going to be your typical spot volume. So when you're looking for that flexibility in what you do, and the neat part about the Relay load board is all that information's in front of you. So you have the rates already there, you have the lane, you have the information all in there, pickup, delivery, before you even book it.
This is in real time.
So in real time, you see everything out there, you can filter, you can find it. So when you're looking for freight on the load board, you can see everything that's out there, right? If I had to boil it down to one benefit, just to take away, is just the visibility to a carrier. So that's all laid out in front of you, gives you that flexibility. You can fill that in. Contracts, this is kind of a neat thing, and then I think is really neat about Amazon too, because you brought up the blue trailers. Contracts are going to be anywhere between 1 week to 10 weeks. So and what it does is, since we're moving those trailers around, you can go ahead and book. You see, again, prices out there. You can book your truck for that 1 week to 10 week increment, and then you get paid weekly still. So even if you're on a 10 week or more, you get paid out weekly, and you know when your asset or your driver is going to be home. So pretty neat thing. And people tend to like contracts because, again, going back to my days at the intermodal carrier, you've got very specific fleet, right? You've got a very specific driver pool. So like that fits well for a lot of folks, because all right, I'm going to be back at this time. So that's a neat thing. Auctions has been really a neat thing. And that's where you can book anywhere between 1 week, 2 weeks, all the way out to 6 months. And I brought up the Hostler and Shuttle stuff. Obviously, you can tell I'm a little passionate about that. But we just had our largest auction to date 2 weeks ago, and we were sending out 1 to 2 week contracts for the prime big deal days, but all the way to 6 months. So there's some people who have hostler opportunities that are on like their asset all the way out for 6 months, so almost into Q2 plus, and they know where that's going to be and when it's going to be. But some of the benefit for the folks who are out there who are doing their own asset, their own trailer, is on auctions. What you can do is you can look for either those backhauls or potentially even front haul, because that's going to be those one ways. I'm going to know I'm going from Atlanta to Chicago.
For sure.
Yeah, and it's going to be every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and you can go in there and you bid. And the way auctions works is you can bid essentially from the like you see that the leading bid. You can say and put down what makes most sense for you. And I think one of the, again, a call back to my experience.
Please do.
But, yeah, I think when I look at auctions and I see really the benefit of it, when I was at that intermodal company, I used to have, there was like 5 different 3PLs, and they'd all call me and they'd offer me this one lane that would work. It was the one lane that I needed because I just had a quick turn for the drivers.
Sure.
And they would all offer me the same load, and I would just default pretty much take it because I just needed it. Like, if not, we were coming back empty. So I think in that situation, if auctions was around, right, which it wasn't at that time because that was many moons ago, but if that was around, I would have definitely been able to use that. I could have gone on there, and instead of getting all those calls, I would have just been able to go in and fill that out. So auctions really good for that type of opportunity.
So with all these, items, because I literally was not aware of this at all. This is crazy. Mode specifically.
Yeah.
What can you kind of do in terms of just overall equipment?
Yeah, equipment. Yeah. So equipment wise,
Yeah.
again, you brought it up, and that's typically how 90% of people, if you ask them, and I'm pulling off of like family and friends when I tell them I do, but they're gonna say, "Hey, it's the blue trailers, right?"
That's what I see.
That's what you see.
That's what I see.
Yeah, my son, right? He's 3, but he knows where I work because of either the packages showing up or the trailers going down the road.
Sure.
But yeah, that's one large factor, but that's one equipment type that we have. But beyond that, really where I have personally seen like the expansion over the last 8 years being here is just into some of those other equipment types or modes. So now you've got a really big presence of like the drive in. So if you have your own trailer, that's going to be out there. And like I said, there's all different ways you can book that, but some really creative ways, like through the auctions or through the load board that you can really fill out. You have the reefer trailers. So now like Chicago, DC, and Southern California, we've really expanded in those markets. And again, too, the benefit there is typically going to be around 250 miles, but we've got all of that reefer freight on there. And then you also have box truck. So box truck has just, again, over that timeline exploded. And where this is beneficial is you've got drivers who are staying pretty close to that metropolitan area. And what they can do and where we've seen some carriers find benefit in it is you have a different requirement, right? If you're under 26,000 pounds, you can typically use that standard driver's license. So as people are talking through like building their fleet or growing, it's a good way to do that in a different area. And all that, again, is going to be available either on the load board or on contracts. And the last couple that I'll cover is just you have intermodal, which I've talked about a few times, right?
I mean, intermodal is your baby for sure.
I love intermodal. I love hostler and shuttle, but overall, yeah, transportation. I've loved it since I was 3 and just hadn't lost that. But I think, yeah, intermodal carriers go on there and you're looking at either round trip or one way. And if they have UIIA certification and those rail addendas, they can go in and they can now book that load. And we have our own, if you haven't seen them yet, I mean, they're all over. You probably have seen them if you've seen here in Chattanooga, there's trains everywhere. We're right next to a train.
I was like, everywhere.
Yeah, I was looking to see if we had an Amazon container on there, but like that's something that people can haul too. So you have Amazon container, Amazon chassis, so you can fill that in. So if you have a break in time, Wednesday, I don't have something, you can go on there and you can fill that in, or you can build it out and start getting your foot in the door on the intermodal space. And then I won't take us too far into the hostler and shuttle space because I touched on it some, but that's just been a really great way because carriers can book 6 to 12 hours of time, and they know, all right, it's going to be at fill in the blank facility in Chattanooga, right, Atlanta, wherever it is. And then at the end of that time, if something happened to your truck or something, like heaven forbid broke down, like you're a taxi ride home. So people like that, right? It's a good way for I mean, it's very carrier friendly, driver friendly. So there's a lot of different ways to find something that really fits into your operations or even helps you expand your operations. So yeah.
Now, how do you get started on Amazon Relay? And is there time to get in to unlock all this opportunity before?
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like it's busy season right now, but before busy peak season truly hits.
Yeah. So there's a couple layers to that. So the first thing, like busy season, we're really starting to get into that. So I think right now, like if we've got relay carriers that are listening, you're going to start seeing some of those contracts coming through. You're able to, and depending on how you want to do it, there's auctions, like I said, that can carry you through there, because maybe you're a carrier who has a little bit of the downtime during this time of year, but ultimately we're going to see that volume start taking up. So if they go, so the place that you go, which was one of your questions, so you go to relay.amazon.com, and then it has all of the requirements outlined. I think this is one of the neat things too, just about Relay, is you can see everything out there. It's very intuitive. Like you can check the boxes, make sure you've got everything, go in, put your information, and then track your approval through there. But once you do get in, there's still plenty of time, right? If you do get in, like say you apply today or you apply in 2 weeks, we're really going to start hitting that volume, and then we're going to have returns coming in after that. But again, all this stuff is happening year round. Like all the stuff that we talked about, it's there, but I would definitely tell people to consider, whether you're an existing relay carrier or you're thinking about it, at least get in there and see what matches up. Because I know, again, like I said, from my experience, there'd be a ton of places that if it was around, I know I'd be looking or excited to at least see some opportunity there.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Richard Bub, Amazon Relay. Bub, you have been in the house.
Yeah.
What'd you think about the debut so far, man?
I love it. I think
I'm loving it too, man.
Yeah, I like it. I was expecting a different backdrop from what I've seen on the last one. So I had to make sure I was at the right spot, but I saw you, so I knew I was here.
You can't miss a shiny head with this light on it.
Yeah, for sure.
Man, I appreciate it, Richard.
Hey.
Thank you so much, brother.
All right. We'll do this again?
Yes, we will.
Yeah.
Don't make some noise for Richard
All right,
with
thank
Amazon Relay again. All right. How we doing out there? Y'all good? Feeling good? Think I have one more person. If I read correctly, you ready? If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. Y'all, joining me is the VP of Carrier Experience, Todd Waldron. Todd, what's up, man? How are you?
Glad to
Good
be
see
here.
you.
Thanks
I'm
for
so
having
happy you're here.
Yeah.
You look sharp, man.
Thank you. Just got off stage doing our 7-minute demo.
How was it?
Well, it went
Good,
well.
bad, ugly? It was great.
It was great.
Awesome. Well, Todd, we're going to talk because there was an announcement made on LinkedIn that I saw that we're going to get to, because you're not going to leave this stage without talking about it. But you guys are, of course, always innovating, right? Addressing real challenges, but you're also doing things in a way that it really affects real people.
Yep.
Speaking about carriers.
Yep.
How are you able to do this so efficiently, Todd?
Yeah, it's great. So getting a chance to step in and run like our carrier experience, it really impacts cross-functionally what we do as an organization. So you look at marketing, everything from product development, marketing, sales, etc.
Sure.
It really speaks to the level of focus we have in innovating for the carriers.
Right.
And so there's innovation that happens that's very future looking, that we're talking about doing, we're developing on, but foundationally, we're rolling out and developing very simple additive features that make the carrier's life easier. So I think for me, it's about doing those two things at the same time and then merging them into creating the future, rather than trying to bring an offering that is the future and force it into today's environment. So one example, on the carrier side, we rolled out carrier factorability. So carrier can go in, see which loads are factorable on the load board that through the factoring companies they work with.
Right.
First, it's truck stop factoring, denim's getting added, and then through partnerships, adding additional factoring companies so they can see easily what's there. Age authority filter, being able to see which brokers work with carriers that are the authority that you have, or work with carriers that have the level of authority you have. So you can filter on that and only call on loads that are actually with brokers that will work with you. So simple, but impactful to the carrier's day-to-day world.
Absolutely. Now, the news that we were talking about, obviously, I saw yesterday, but I want you, for those, if you've been under a rock, you don't know, there was an exclusive announcement from you all
Yes.
about a specific load board,
Yes.
dry vans,
Yes.
100%. Walk me through this, man. This is nuts.
I was trying to save the news for you and your show. We launched it on LinkedIn. I talked about it on stage.
It's
Got
crazy,
a chance
dog.
to demo it.
This is crazy.
So it's great, but it's huge news. So it's really a step in the direction we're trying to develop. What we're developing is mode specific or service level specific load boards that simplifies the experience for the carriers. And so the first iteration of that is the van specific load board. Truck stop's huge. We have a huge network of freight and loads and multiple modes of transportation. And so our customers have asked us to say, simplify this. How do I get more quickly to the loads that are relevant to me? So one is just offering a cheaper load board. So $35 the basic starts at. It's an easier on-ramp for the smaller 1 to 2 truck owner operators coming up in the industry. And then 2 is the partnership with Sonar that then adds this layer of intelligence that makes it really powerful. So it makes it simpler. And then with Sonar data within the ecosystem, you can see it at a lane level. And then with the Pro version, you can actually see load level negotiation power, average spot rate for the past 7 days, and you can see the comparison of the spot rate today versus the 7 days. So you can see what's trending in the market for the specific load or the lanes that you're searching. So it's really cool.
This is unreal, man. And I know everybody's, obviously where we're at, future of freight, technology, AI is at the center of everything. You all have a real practical approach when it comes to AI and technology. What's your vision for how this is playing specifically with like truck stop and the ecosystem and the great team you have? Like, this is like a whole type of like recipe that you guys have figured out. I can say it. You guys have figured this out.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's this healthy path to AI. And so we've created, our own MCP server and our own kind of centralized database of all of our data that then we can connect and control into what AI sources we work with and utilize.
Sure.
So that opens this door for us being able to control and manage and maintain what data sets we connect and allow as we understand how customers will digest AI tools. Voice AI is in one of this, the agentic AI, right? And so we're working on that like everybody else, but again, being cautious with the roadmap. And for me, it's important to deliver an omni-channel experience, right? Is that someone's going to want to communicate with it via email or text and or phone, A, but then B, the biggest thing is brokers and carriers implement AI solutions is what is the path and interaction with humans and when does that need to occur? So I look at the example of overnight staff and some people are rolling out AI solutions to then fill after hours. But at the end of the day, if that solution cannot navigate the complexity of who to call, when to call them, the knowledge that comes from my experience that this shipper's not picking up the phone, but if I call this guy who knows this person that can get us in or go open the door code or give us the door code,
Absolutely,
it's going to take a while for that to solve that problem. And so we need to make sure that we don't just thrust our customers, carriers, brokers into this AI world and not have a path to get out and have an escape route to talk to somebody. So
You've teed up like 3 questions. I'm going to go back to one that's popping up in my head right now because you talked about that, I guess, just thrusting this AI out, right?
Yes.
When it comes to, hey, like the overnight work and stuff
Yep.
like that. You still need humans. How do you find that balance between still needing humans, like, hey, like a human brings a real-time solution to a real-time problem, but also having the wherewithal to be able to actually have the AI experience and innovate over time and grow.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
absolutely. So really what I've been talking about is that and like to focus on is that it's a process and a roadmap. And it's saying we're going to insert AI at certain points in the process while raising the bar maybe of ownership in the decision or the communication. And so you look at, I would say, one is relationships is the key thing I focus on. And so you take some of the very simple, redundant, continuous tasks, and maybe that's a place to start. But from a relationship standpoint, agentic AI has this risk that it's going to negatively impact my relationships. Look at tracking and tracing. When I came up as a broker carrier rep, the carrier sales rep had a relationship, and then our tracking team probably had a better relationship with the carriers.
Literally.
They would call them daily with their check calls. They'd communicate. They would know their pain points, etc.
Sure.
As you insert digital tracking, you reduce one relationship point with your company.
I agree.
So another point aspect of it is being clear and diligent that you plan and use time that might be freed up from AI for relationship building and investing in those relationships for where technology might be taking away interactions. How do you make sure you replace those with healthy interactions? Because transportation, as much as people say it's commoditized, there are aspects that are, but so much happens in just the conversation and knowing somebody, whether it's between brokers and shippers or carriers and brokers, the relationship still holds such a big piece in the conversation. So
I feel like we are Shaq and Kobe right now. Because what you just ended on is literally the next question I'm about to ask. So the alley-oop was perfect.
that's good.
When
Which
it
one
comes,
am I?
you're definitely
Shaq?
Kobe.
Oh, okay.
You're definitely Kobe, man. I'm the best big man in the league. Come on. When it comes to the current state, brokers, right? Carriers.
Yeah.
That's the biggest relationship in the game.
Yeah.
How do you see this evolving in 2026? Because you're privy to it all.
Yeah.
You speak to carriers constantly. You speak to brokers constantly, you as well as your entire team.
Yep.
How do you see this meshing and evolving as we get into 2026 and beyond?
Yeah, absolutely. I see it continuing in deeper relationships, more transparency, and working together strategically
For sure.
on what are the needs of both, right? And so you look at the evolution of brokers and carriers over the last 10 to 15 years.
Yeah.
Brokerages have been more present on shippers' routing guides and have shifted their mindset to committed capacity and not as much dependent on spot capacity. From a procurement side, they've still generally procured spot transactions and rates, but they've been building handshake agreements and relationships. So I think where we go from here is a continued focus on building core, solid, regular, vetted carriers and having tools like private loads that we released, and then a waterfall tiered filtering that enables you to manage your grouping and level of carrier. And so you see them being able to manage, not necessarily in a full RFP or routing guide like a shipper might have, but a step in that direction. And that technology is enabling, I want to repeat and work with the same people over and over again, but I'm not always able to. And that's where TruckStop's core ecosystem has always lived, is that, hey, this is a secure marketplace. It's not a completely wide open load board, but it then steps up and allows brokers to have more control over when they reach and interact with what carriers at what time. And so I think that's a big part of it. But then also, you're going to have to continue to come together as we don't understand where this market's going, understanding carriers' pain points, where they're struggling, how can you sell to help them fill their needs in their network, and then in the same way, how can they help in developing your customer relationships and things like that from a broker perspective. So I just see it continuing to get tighter, not necessarily a forced transparency, which some might advocate for, but more of a genuine, honest, and open transparency where it makes sense. So
I love that answer. And I could sit here and talk to you for 2 hours, but I don't want to do this. So my last question to you, what would you want to convey to those that are rather listening to us right now live, listening to us in the audience? What is something that you're just, hey, like, if you don't take anything from what I've said, or, between the demo or this, or just in general from the F3 conference, day one, what's one theme that you want them to take away with you today?
Yeah, I would say the biggest thing for me is the partnerships and the collaboration.
Yeah.
And so we're in this era of so many unknowns, A, but then B, this forceful nature of technology.
For sure.
And so at the heart for TruckStop, we're focused on building and developing quickly with a cornerstone through with strategic partners because we know we can't do it ourselves.
Yeah, you have
No
to.
system or technology will be able to do it all themselves.
Yeah.
And so us taking and building with others and building together is the same thing I would instill in carriers and brokers as well to say, in order to get through this, partnership, open, honest communication and transparency, like and coming together, that's what's going to help drive us all together through this. So that's what I'd probably leave you with, but it's been a pleasure.
The Vice President of Carrier Experience at Truck Stop, Todd Waldron. Y'all make some noise for Todd.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Good to see you. Good. Well, you guys, have you had fun with me? Not saying you gotta go home, but you might need to get up out of here. Yo, before you leave though, yo, can y'all make some noise for the best crew in the damn business? Y'all give it up for this crew, man. Production, they've been killing it all day. I appreciate you guys. I will see y'all tomorrow on another episode of What the Truck. I'm your boy, Malcolm Harris. Peace and love. See ya.